The most mysterious man in college basketball recruiting, Tyran Stokes, number one player in the class of 2026, made some moves over the weekend. And we've been waiting for moves from Mr. Stokes. Well, here you go. Louisville dropped from his list. USC dropped from his list. That means Tyran Stokes is down to three schools: Kentucky, Kansas, and Oregon. Still lurking here. Kentucky, the presumed winner of this recruitment, has had all the momentum for 6 months. Kansas, the presumed threat to this recruitment, has previously recently signed Tay Kinney, outwardly saying he's recruiting Tyran. Darren Peterson, now outwardly saying he's recruiting Tyran. They're trying to swing him from Kentucky to Kansas. And then, like I said, that third school, Oregon, just lurking around. Never a bad thing if you're an Oregon fan to have Phil Knight's own Oregon Ducks lurking around for a Nike athlete at the 11th hour. I still think there could be more twists and turns. One more twist comes to us courtesy of Jacob Polachek, who dropped some new intel over the weekend on this. So shout out to Jacob. If you want the full thoughts, you can get them with KSR Plus on 3. Jacob does amazing work with all those guys. But he alluded to this, and I'll summarize it as quickly as I can. Get more details through Jacob. Apparently, Tyran Stokes and Caleb Holt are having conversations about playing together in college. Now, this is a big turn for this reason. If you've listened to us, if you have paid attention to Jacob's reporting, the source of this update, and many others, it's been pretty well documented that Kentucky would not really have the funds for Holt and Stokes, and that Holt didn't seem all that interested in going where Tyran Stokes was going to go. That's been the story this entire time. And this is a change, per Jacob right now, that there are conversations being had about both playing together. You would note, out of the three schools that Tyran Stokes says he is down to, the only one that is currently actively recruiting Caleb Holt is Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So basic logic would imply if they are going to play together, it would be at Kentucky here. Your thoughts on all of this?
Man, well, one, the Tyron Stokes saga will continue as long as Mr. Stokes says it's going to continue. I look forward to this list being enlarged to five next week, too, by the way, and then cut to two the following week. There's way more twists and turns that I think will come in this, and cutting and enlarging of lists probably, and cryptic tweets that will send people into a frenzy. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting to me just because whether right or wrong, I have just always just been under the impression, and this is just gut feeling, the massive gut that I have, that's usually wrong too, by the way, that I just don't really buy the whole Caleb Holt and Tyron Stokes want to play together thing. It just doesn't necessarily make sense to me. As a pairing, complementary wise, I just don't see it as that. So I've had a hard time grasping or wrapping my head around that pairing being a thing. But to your point, if Jacob Polachek tells me to jump, I say how high. So if Jacob Polachek's telling me these conversations are serious, and I believe that the conversations are serious. I just don't know if I can believe the severity of them, if that makes sense, because just my own personal beliefs on it. Like I just don't see those two guys chomping at the bit to play with each other.
So I think you're right. That's my general pulse on the situation as well. I think basketball wise, well, here's where I kind of come around on this. I think Caleb Holt can play with anyone. Do you agree?
I do.
So I think it could work. I think Caleb Holt could play with anyone. But I think it would require coming in like Caleb Holt is signing up for a pretty big sacrifice because there's a lot of schools Caleb Holt would go to and they'd run everything through Caleb Holt. But I think Caleb Holt's game, his approach, his mentals, his emotions are all worthy of playing anywhere with anyone. He could sign up to be the fifth guy on a title team that goes undefeated. He could sign up to be the star on a team that he drags to the tournament. He's good enough. Stokes, I think, is the one where Like if they're gonna play together, Stokes ain't gonna change anything about himself or Caleb Holt. He's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
So it basically comes down to, does Holt want to sacrifice a little? I think that's the main reason everyone's been so like, yeah, I don't buy it. If there's rumblings, they might. To me, that means Caleb Holt's at least listening, which feels new. And that should be hugely exciting for Kentucky fans, because the element of this where Kentucky's the only school recruiting both these guys, that's the part that's absolutely a true win here. If you're Kentucky fans, the idea that this could even happen should give you more intel that at least someone involved between these two is like really into Kentucky. Whether
Mhm.
it's Caleb Holt being like, yo, I want to go to Kentucky. We should both go there. Or Tyran Stokes being like, I'm going to Kentucky, dog. You should come with me. Like somebody involved here is ominously saying behind the scenes, like, it's going to be Kentucky. And I think that's really exciting. But yeah, I don't really buy that it's actually going to happen. And to that point, so in Jacob's report on this, the first half of it basically is what we alluded to. It's like there are conversations happening with these two. The last sentence on it, I'm going to read it word for word from Jacob. Sources close to both recruitments have questions about the viability NIL wise as well as the fit together, so there are still doubts. It's like the whole update is like they're interested in doing this, and then the final sentence is like both recruitment sources say it's still very unlikely to happen.
Yeah. Also, did I hear NIL discussions in there?
Yeah, I think that's maybe the centerpiece of why there's friction here.
Right, because you got to also look at this from a Kentucky standpoint. A lot of that 22 million that they're paying this year for guys can come back next year.
Right. Right.
Not the rev share is going to be a thing.
Right. And like you can't go out and spend 8 million on Tyran Stokes and 6 million on Caleb Holt when you have to give Trent Noah and Colin Chandler and Braden Hawthorne 2 million each.
Right. Also, if you're Caleb Holt, are you taking a pay cut to play with Tyran Stokes?
If I want to go to Kentucky, yeah.
That's not what I asked you though.
Which leads me to my body
Are
language.
you taking a pay cut to play with Tyran Stokes?
If I'm like me
You're
personally,
you are Caleb Holt.
my brain and heart are in Caleb Holt's body.
Yes.
I'm not playing with Tyron Stokes anywhere. It has nothing to do with pay. I'm wherever you're going, I'm not going.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. Do I think Caleb Holt would take a pay cut to play with Tyron? I think he might take a pay cut to play at Kentucky. He might. Which leads me to my body language PhD conclusion of this. Can I give you the findings of the readings on these twists and turns?
First body language PhD of the year.
I've had a few of these with Tyron through the months. Here's what I got. The reason there's smoke on this is because Caleb Holt wants to go to Kentucky. And Caleb Holt's getting a little antsy waiting around for Tyron. And Mark Pope and Kentucky are correctly not taking a Caleb Holt commitment before they get an answer from Tyron.
Oh, okay.
That's my read on. So why would two guys who have always been like, yeah, it's not gonna happen, now all of a sudden, yeah, it might happen because Caleb Holt's getting through his visits and is like, damn, I really want to go there.
Mm,
Shit, but isn't Tyron gonna go there? Everybody says Tyron's gonna go there. Well, I guess like, I mean, I would go there. I would. But I don't think any of this is stemming from Tyron. I highly doubt Tyron's pulling a take any and like recruiting Caleb Holt here. I think
mm.
this is just Caleb's going through the process like, damn, I want to go to Kentucky. And it's a good sign for Kentucky, I think.
That's fair to say. So how's this end then? Does this end with them getting a boat then? How are you handicapping this?
It's so mysterious. I don't think there is a way to handicap it. I can give you a pure, speaking for myself only guess.
Okay.
I think Caleb Holt will end up at Kentucky, and I think Tyron Stokes will end up somewhere else.
Ooh, I'll back you.
And I think that would be a win for Mark Pope. Not as big of a win as getting both. And it might sound crazy. I would rather have Caleb Holt than I would rather have Tyron Stokes if I can only get one here.
That's a that would be considered a hot take.
I think it's a Mark Pope guy through and through.
Fair. That's definitely fair to say.